Welcome to today's Scaringi Law lunch break. This is your time of the day to learn a little bit of something about the law while you enjoy your lunch. Although the economy has picked up considerable steam during the last year, and many Americans are taking more in take-home pay and experiencing better economic conditions, the average American is still suffering under some historically high debt burdens. Our founding fathers were prescient enough to provide for the creation and operation of bankruptcy courts to provide for debt relief for Americans who are in need and qualify. Thousands of Pennsylvania families benefit from relief under the nation's bankruptcy laws each year. There are two types of bankruptcy relief for individuals. They're found under Chapters 7 and 13 of the Bankruptcy Code. Chapter 7 bankruptcy is the fastest and most complete bankruptcy relief available under the law. For most, the process takes 4 to 6 months from beginning to end. Individuals and married couples can expect to receive discharge of most unsecured debts, such as credit card obligations, medical and hospital bills, and even certain tax debts. Once your debts are discharged, you'll be able to concentrate on rebuilding your credit without the distraction and anxiety and pressure from your creditors. However, Chapter 7 won't work for everybody. If you received a Chapter 7 discharge in the previous 8 years, you won't be eligible for another one. If your net household income isn't under the Pennsylvania median, you won't pass the Chapter 7 means test. And if you own considerable debts and considerable assets, and you can't exempt those assets from the bankruptcy laws because they're too valuable, then you won't qualify for a Chapter 7, and you'll have to consider a Chapter 13 bankruptcy instead. In a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, you agree to repay your debts over a period of time through one monthly payment to a bankruptcy trustee. If you can perform on your monthly payment obligation to that trustee over a period of 3 to 5 years, you'll receive a discharge of unsecured debts. You'll receive the cure of mortgage arrears and car loan arrearages. And you'll make substantial progress on any non-dischargeable tax or student loan debts. Now, in the meantime, you'll enjoy bankruptcy court protection from collection efforts on the part of your creditors. So there are important distinctions between Chapter 7 and Chapter 13 cases. And all things being equal, most people prefer to be in a Chapter 7 if they could. The typical Chapter 7 case rarely takes more than 6 months, while Chapter 13 goes on for 3 to 5 years. General unsecured debts, unless accepted from discharge by federal law, are completely forgiven in a Chapter 7. But in the Chapter 13, you have to repay at least some of them over a period of time in your monthly Chapter 13 payments. Nevertheless, Chapter 13 represents a valuable debt relief option for most families, and for many people, it's the only bankruptcy alternative available because their income is too high to qualify for Chapter 7, or they have assets with values above the exemption limits, and they don't want to liquidate them in a Chapter 7. So Chapter 13 is their plan. Chapter 13 might even be your best choice in many situations. Let's say you received a Chapter 7 discharge within the past 8 years. Or you'll need more than a few months to catch up with past due taxes, mortgage arrearages, or late payments on car loans. Or you have significant personal assets that will be subject to liquidation under a Chapter 7. Or your small business is in a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, but you need protection from collection of personal guarantees that you've made as part of your small business. Now, as long as you have regular income, Chapter 13 can result in some protection and eventual discharge that you would otherwise receive in a Chapter 7. Now, Chapter 11 is a business reorganization bankruptcy and is beyond the scope of today's video. We'll talk more about Chapter 11 in a later video. Well, that's about all the time we have today. I hope you've learned something about bankruptcy law. If you have any questions about bankruptcy law, Chapter 7, Chapter 13, or even Chapter 11 business bankruptcies, Call Scaringi Law today at 717-657-7770. We've been doing bankruptcy law since the inception of our law firm many years ago. Well, I hope you enjoy your lunch.